जय राधा माधव जय कुंज बिहारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। जय गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। जय गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन। यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन। यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन। यमुना तीरा वनचारी। यमुना तीरा वनचारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। जय गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। जय गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Rama
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare
Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Jayo Radha Krishna Chandra Radha Krishna Chandra Radhe जयो नीताय गौरंग जय नीताय गौरंग नीताय गौरंग जय नीताय गौरंग जयो जयो प्रभुपाद 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 प्रभुपाद
जय प्रभुपाद 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 प्रभुपाद
जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर शुद्ध श्री श्रीमद डिवाइन ग्रेस अभय चरण भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर शुद्ध श्री श्रीमद डिवाइन ग्रेस श्रील भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती ठाकुर गोस्वामी श्रील प्रभुपाद की ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये नष्टप्रायेष्वभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 3rd canto, 14th chapter, text number 17. येषते अहं विदास्यामि प्रियं भीरु यदिच्छसि तस्याः कामं न काकुर्यात् सिद्धिस्त्रैवर्गिकी यतः येषतेऽहं विधास्यामि प्रियं भीरु यदिच्छसि तस्याः कामं न काकुर्यात् सिद्धिस्त्रैवर्गिकी यतः येषतेऽहं विधायास्मि प्रियं भीरु यदिच्छसि तस्याः कामं न काकुर्यात् सिद्धिस्त्रैवर्गिकी यतः Word to word meaning. Yeshaha, this, te, your request, aham, I, vidhasyami, shall execute, priyam, very dear, Viru, O afflicted one, Yat, what? Ichasi, you are desiring. Tasyaha, her. Kamam, desires. Na, not. Kaha, who. Kuriyad, would perform. Siddhihi, perfection of liberation. Traivargiki, three. Yataha, from whom? Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Translation. O afflicted one, I shall forthwith gratify whatever desire is dear to you, for who else but you is the source of the three perfections of liberation. Please repeat the translation. O afflicted one, I shall forthwith gratify whatever desire is dear to you, for who else but you is the source of the three perfections of liberation. Purport. The three perfections of liberation are religiosity, economic development, and sense gratification. For a conditioned soul, the wife is considered to be the source of liberation because she offers her service to the husband for his ultimate liberation. Conditional material existence is based on sense gratification, and if someone has the good fortune to get a good wife, he is helped by the wife in all respects. If one is disturbed in his conditional life, he becomes more and more entangled in material contamination. A faithful wife is supposed to cooperate with her husband in fulfilling all material desires so that he can then become comfortable and execute spiritual activities for the perfection of life. If, however, the husband is progressive in spiritual advancement, the wife undoubtedly shares his activities, and thus both the wife and the husband profit in spiritual perfection. It is essential, therefore, that girls as well as boys be trained to discharge spiritual duties so that at the time of cooperation, both will be benefited. The training of the boy is brahmacharya and the training of the girl is chastity. A faithful wife and spiritually trained brahmachari are a good combination for advancement of human mission. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Namahom Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधरा शिवासादि गौरभक्त वृंदा हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. येषते हम विदास्यामि प्रियं वीरु यदिच्छसि तस्याह कामं न कुर्यात् सिद्धिस्त्रैवर्गिकी यतः. O afflicted one, I shall forthwith gratify whatever desire is dear to you, for who else but you is the source of the three perfections of liberation. So here we can see Kashyapa Muni, like a henpecked husband. He's so nicely telling his wife, my dear wife, what do you want? I will satisfy. And what is the wife wanting? At an inappropriate time, she wants to unite with her husband. And for that, Kardama Muni, Kashyapa Muni, being a very elevated person, is saying, I agree to it. So, in the previous verse, Srila Prabhupada points out this thing, that when somebody starts speaking like this, we can understand. Now, Diti is giving, is presenting the reasons to Kashyapa Muni as to why he has to indulge in sexual activity, and for that she is giving various reasons, and based on those reasons Kashyapa is saying, okay, I will indulge if that is what you want. So for him to also act like that, it's a little bit inappropriate way. Although Kashyapa knows that this is not the right thing to do, but yet he is acting like that. So, like the saying is there, you cannot clap with one hand. For the sound to come out, both the hands should clap. So here you can see both are culprits for indulging. Yes, Diti may be the bigger culprit because she is the person who is actually initiated this whole thing. But yet we cannot say that Kashyapa is not part of this crime. Kashyapa is also part of this crime. And that is why Prabhupada in the previous verse, purport Prabhupada is saying that it appears that Kashyapa was already inclined to have sexual enjoyment with his wife. And because he was not a strong man, he tried to dissuade her only with pacifying words. You see? Prabhupada is saying he dissuaded only with pacifying words. That means, see, Prabhupada is so pakka in his words. He's saying pacifying words. That means when somebody is doing wrong, it is not sufficient to pacify that person. Like sometimes we as devotees, we think, oh, when somebody gets chastised, oh, why is he chastising me? After all, I am a new person, I don't know. You could have just very mildly, lovingly told. No, sometimes that will not work. Prabhupada is saying that. Prabhupada is pointing that he tried to dissuade her only with pacifying words. That means you should have used more harder language and stopped her from indulging in that kind of an act. So harder language is sufficient. There is everything in Krishna consciousness is there is no aspect which can be rejected. Everything has got its own appropriate use according to right place and right circumstance. Sometimes we compartmentalize people. We compartmentalize values. When I say we compartmentalize values means what? We say, oh, this is how it should be. Sadhu means he will be like this only. No. Sadhu can be like fire. Sadhu can be as tender as a lotus flower. There are all angles to that person. Just like Prabhupada personally led by example. Prabhupada was extremely kind, extremely merciful, extremely compassionate. But at the same time, Prabhupada was also like a thunderbolt. Many devotees share that how Prabhupada was hardly 5 feet 2 inches or 5 feet 4 inches. Short man. And these big Americans, 6 foot 5, 6 foot 6, all big, tall, Hulk-like people, massive bodied people. And devotees say that how Prabhupada at times used to make them shiver. Prabhupada used to make them shiver. When Prabhupada used to hear certain things, something that should not be done, and Prabhupada used to really get heavy on them. So there are all aspects in a pure devotee. A pure devotee only sees applicability of everything. Whatever needs to be used in the service of Krishna, it has to be used. Doesn't matter what it is. So anger, if it has to be used, anger has to be used. Tenderness has to be used, then tenderness will be used. Mercy has to be used, mercy will be used. The only one thing that a pure devotee sees is how my words, my actions will please Krishna. That is the only aspect that a devotee constantly values or is motivated, is inspiration, is prerana, is whether this is required for Krishna's service. Of course, what is required for Krishna's service, to come to that conclusion and to do it in the right way, requires a lot of spiritual maturity. In an immature state of spiritual life, we sometimes misread our own personal interest and act. So we say, we get angry, and then we say, no, I use this anger for Krishna's service, but actually we may be using that anger just for our own satisfaction or false ego and personal sense gratification. No. That is why we should always be guided. At a neophyte stage, we cannot be independently taking action. We must be guided. We cannot allow our material instincts to take over. Prabhupada was not driven by material instincts. Pure devotees are not driven by material instincts. They are driven by only one instinct, which is Krishna karma. Actions to please Krishna. They are motivated by that. So here you see Kashyapa Muni is allowing his wife to contaminate the right course of action that he should have taken. The right course of action Kashyapa Muni should have taken. But yet, he is allowing his wife's logic and reason to contaminate his intelligence. Kashyapa Muni has intelligence, no? Anybody who is a spiritual seeker, these are all basic principles of spiritual life, of spiritual practice. And he is saying, I shall forthwith gratify whatever desire is dear to you, for who else but you is the source of the three perfections of liberation. He is giving tarka that you are the cause for my liberation. So let me satisfy you. What kind of a logic is this? What does the Bhagavatam say? What is the Vedic principles of all these things? Yes, wife has to be satisfied. That is the duty of a man. Wife has to be protected. Wife has to be taken care of. But if the wife is asking these kind of things, and then the wife is stubborn about it, yes, I want, I want, I want, I want. Does that mean that the man has to satisfy that? Not at all. What is the principles of dharma? She is quoting dharma. See, my father gave you, in the previous verses we read, that Daksha gave me to you, so that you are an elevated soul, you are a great saint, thinking that my father gave to you. So it is your duty to satisfy me. These are the tarka presented by Diti. And then, so you have to satisfy me. I want children. All my sisters, all my other sisters, they all have children. Only I don't have children. So please, I want children. So let us unite. This is the logic of Diti. Whereas, all these kind of requests, desires, everything we have to see in the light of scriptures. That's why we say Shastrena Chakshusha. You have to see it in the light of scriptures. You have to see it in the light of other pramanas. Yes, she may be presenting that this is the duty of an husband. But then there are higher principles. Just like Arjuna in the battle of Kurukshetra, he also cited reasons why not to fight. He gave tarka to Krishna. I should not fight. But what does Krishna say? Ashocyan anvashochasvam prajna vadam shibasase. You are talking like a big pandita. Prajna vadam shabashase. You are giving me prajna, knowledge. And you are giving vada. Big vada you are giving. But you really have no idea what it is. Because fundamentally, there is higher principles. Yes, like there are upadharma, paradharmas. Upadharma is secondary. What is first? Paradharma. Paradharma is dharma. Upadharma means dharma on the platform of this material world. Vyavaharika dharma. Kindness, gentleness, honesty, sincerity. These are all upadharmas. What is paradharma? Paradharma means dharma to the Supreme Lord. If these upadharmas should facilitate us to proceed to paradharma, that is the must thing, most important thing. Where is the upadharmas that Diti is talking about? Is it going to facilitate Kashyapa to go back to in his execution of paradharma? It is not going to facilitate execution of paradharma in any way. Rather, it is going to bring more misery. But yet, Kashyapa is not able to discriminate. Bhagavatam in the first canto we have seen, it established the what is the highest dharma. Dharma projita kaitavo atra paramo nirmatsaranam satam vedyam vastava matru vastu shivadam tapatrayon moolanam Srimad Bhagavatam mahamune krate. See, dharma projita kaitavo dharma. These are all any dharma which people bring about, which is against the paradharma, which is against the principles of Krishna consciousness, achievement of the highest perfection of life, then that is called kaitava dharma. That is only a cheating dharma. exactly Diti what she is doing. She is giving Nyaya. That Nyaya is only Taitava Nyaya. Cheating. Just like, for example, an advocate in the court, he gives Nyaya, logic. Why the criminal he should not be punished. So many, a defense lawyer, one who is condemned to be jailed. They are very crafty. Lawyers are very crafty. They will use word jugglery, everything. The lawyer knows very well this fellow is a pakka criminal. But what else to do? He has taken money from that criminal. So he creates arguments. Why this criminal? He is not a criminal. He is the most nicest, honest, sincere person. They will present him like that. Now the judge who is sitting there, he has to be smart, no? Hey, you are making mama of me. You're making me a fool of me. That is the duty of the judge. Judge should not be overwhelmed by the so-called fake arguments of that lawyer. Because he knows. Similarly, Kashyapa should have known that, my wife is giving me all these kind of logics. But I should have known that no, I am not going to succumb to all these kind of things. In fact, I will tell my wife, no, let us not indulge. That's what Kashyapa should have done. Whereas, what is Kashyapa saying here? Kashyapa is saying, okay, you are telling so much, chalo, I will engage in this. No, not at all. That's why Prabhupada is saying in the previous verse that no, looks like Kashyapa himself was interested in engaging in sexual activity. Many times we see this. Like for example, in the temple, sometimes if devotees are weak-minded, they have heard, but there is an interest, just like Kashyapa is a saintly person. But yet, he becomes a victim. Maya is like that. Maya is like that. Maya makes you weak. Even if you are an elevated soul, Kashyapa is not an ordinary person, Baba. He is a very elevated soul. Yet he becomes a victim of circumstances. So, many times in our temple we can see in our devotional life, many devotees we have seen, very nice devotees. They are very nice. They are interested into practice, they are interested in Krishna consciousness. But what to do? Circumstances make them weak. They get, something happened. Sometime mother, father comes, they start crying, they'll give so many logic reasons why you should not leave us and go. And seeing the devotee also melts down. Oh yes. So sad. And then he gives up. Right? That is weakness. Sometimes devotee knows mother, father. He gives up mother, father also. Sometimes one woman comes, he falls trapped to that. You see, Maya is like that. They become victim. Sometimes our ego, he knows, just what is there. Just give up that ego. No, so simple it is. He knows Pashyan, Napina Pashyati. That is the Prakshayatmatmaka and Avarnatmika Shaktis of the external potency. Covers the living entity from properly thinking, clarity. Just gets trapped. And no reason, no logic will work at that time. He just goes like a mad bull. Becomes overwhelmed by situation. Just becomes overwhelmed. That's why Bhagavatam is giving these examples. Bhagavatam is not giving the examples that, Bhagavatam is talking about dharma, projita kaitavo dharma. At the same time, Bhagavatam is giving the logic of Diti also. So which means that, is it a license for us to act like this? No. Rather, Bhagavatam's interest is what? Don't become like Diti. Don't act like Diti. Or don't act like Kashyapa also. It is trying to actually protect us. It is giving us various situations. The goal of Bhagavatam is only one. The goal of Bhagavatam is How we can surrender without haituki apratiyata yayatma suprasidati. That is the goal, to be situated in suprasidati. So for us to be situated in that state of existence, we have to understand all the different dimensions, all the various different dimensions. So many times in the course of our devotional life, within our mind, we will come up with various kinds of upadharmas, logic and reasons as to why we cannot follow the different aspects of devotional life. But we should be able to discriminate. We must discriminate through higher knowledge. No, what I am thinking is only very, very petty. It is not the highest aspect of knowledge. Yes, many times we give tarka. Many times, see Prabhu, that devotee is doing like this, why I cannot do? This devotee is doing, that temple is doing, this temple is doing, that one is doing. Are, ye may be doing, ye may be doing, ye may be doing. What is that you have to do? Is it what he is doing? Is it a lower level or a higher level? We have to choose the highest level. That is the path we need to continue to go. All these arguments that that person is doing, comparison, all these things are very, 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 very weak arguments. Doesn't work like that. Yeah. I have some quotes from verses from Srimad Bhagavatam, which are very relevant for us to always maintain that highest thought process when we are challenged by situations. Life is like that. It will keep on giving us various options and challenges to practice the highest perfection of human existence. We should be controlled, we should be governed, directed by the highest instructions, not by Kaitava dharmas. There are dharmas. Why is Bhagavata dharma supreme? Because it talks about nirmatsaranam paramo. It is nirmatsara. It is the highest perfection of human life. There are various things. Karma kandiya is there. So many things are there in this material world. They are all called dharmas only. But we have chosen to practice this path. We have chosen. There are many people who will just get 35% marks. There are many people who will just go into, there are so many people who are going to engineering colleges also. There are so many people who are doing so many things. But somebody who is a qualified, no, he says, no, I want to get into IIT only. Do you want to follow that, or you just want to get a pass mark? That's what the Bhagavad Gita and the Bhagavatam's essence is, that Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Brahma bhuvanal loka punaravartino Arjuna. Even you go to the highest material existence, you will again come back to the material world. We don't want that path. We don't want to progress in that path. We want to reject all those things. We want the highest perfection of life. That is the goal of the Bhagavatam. We are not saying that that is not the path. Yes, it may be. But we are not interested in that. In our scriptures, constantly, that example, Nachiketa, he is rejecting. No, I don't want that. I don't want that. Tell me what is the highest path. I want to go there. Katha Upanishad, that example of Nachiketa is present. Dhruva Maharaj is an example. When Narada Muni tries to dissuade him, he says, nah, leave it, yeah. You are from the palace. Why you want to go? He says, get lost. I want to continue in that path. That is, we are followers of Dhruva Maharaj. But of course, there are so many things. In the Vedas, Krishna himself says in the Bhagavad Gita, Veda Vadarata, Ya imam pushpitam vacham, Veda Vadarataha. In the Vedas, there are different paths. But don't get bewildered by all those things. Don't get mesmerized by all those paths. Choose the highest perfect path. This is the way in which a Krishna conscious devotee thinks and acts. He is guided by the perfect path. So it is, yes, in the material world, when we are engaged in trying to practice this, we will see many, many examples around us. We will see all people, they are enjoying life, they are doing this, they are doing that, and we feel that, oh, for me, where am I? I don't have any of these things. Our mind gets bewildered by all these things. No. Devotees should always be guided by proper knowledge. We should not feel, sometimes our confidence is shaken. No, he is supremely confident because he is walking. He may not have money, he may not have material respect, he may not have material fame. Forget it, it doesn't matter. He understands through knowledge that this material fame, this material power, this material money, these are all very, very temporary things. That's why we keep repeating, we keep hearing. That's why we say keep hearing, keep hearing. Keep hearing Krishna Katha so that we know our intelligence is on the right plane. Otherwise, intelligence gets bewildered. We see somebody getting lot of fame, lot of respect. We get bewildered. Oh, I also want that. I also want that. We make the mistake. Our fall down immediately happens because we start pursuing those things. Oh, look at that. He's enjoying. Just like you see Ajamila. He's a Brahmana. He's nicely situated. But suddenly he saw something that he should not see. He happened to see. Poor guy. Immediately saying, oh, I want to be the enjoyer. Immediately came into the mind. I want to be the... He forgot that ultimately Krishna is the enjoyer. I am not the enjoyer. You see, basic things. Similarly, in our material, in our spiritual life, we encounter all these kind of similar situations. Repeatedly we encounter. Day to day, in our temple life also we encounter. Oh, some devotee is getting that. Immediately our mind thinks, why I am not getting? No. If you have sufficiently heard, listened to Srimad Bhagavatam, sufficiently practiced, chanted Krishna's the holy name of the Lord, then these kind of situations you can easily conquer. But if you are not having that spiritual potency, then you will become a victim of Maya. You will become a victim of Maya. That's why we say every day, Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya, Nityam Harinama Sevaya, Nityam attend all the deities, come in front of the deities, chant our sadhana, everything makes us, strong, spiritually strong, so that we don't become victim to all these kind of situations. Otherwise, very, very difficult. We want to achieve the highest perfection of life. That is our goal. And for that, we can sacrifice anything. Yes, material pleasure is exciting, but through knowledge we know this material pleasure is very tatkalik, very temporary. This is what the Bhagavatam is instructing us. See, Prabhupada is saying, with respect to that Dharma Projita Kaitavo, in the purport, Prabhupada is saying, Dharma is the life of human beings. And there are different types of Dharma. See, Prabhupada is saying, there are different types of Dharma. Not that, as some rascals say, that all Dharmas are equal. No, there are different Dharmas, no problem. But all Dharmas are not equal. No, according to qualities. There are three qualities. There are three modes of material nature. So one who is attracted to the lowest quality ignorance, his dharma is different from the person who is in the highest level of goodness. Therefore, there are Brahmanas dharma, Kshatriyas dharma, Vaishyas dharma, and Shudras dharma. So what is the Shudra's dharma? That is not Brahmana's dharma. Because Shudra cannot execute the dharma of a Brahmana, and the Brahmana also cannot come down to the status of Shudras. These are Vedic principles. Therefore, in the Vedic society, there are divisions. This class of men are Brahmanas, this class of men are Kshatriyas, this class of men are Vaishyas. Everything, their quality and their activities are mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita. Samo damasthiti ksharjavam jnanam vijnanam astikyam brahma karma svabhavajam shauryam virya yuddhe chapya palayanam ishvara bhavascha. Just like the 7 qualities of the Kshatriyas, 7 qualities, 9 qualities of the Brahmanas, 3 qualities for Vaishyas and 1 quality for Shudra. But the ultimate goal of life is to attain bhakti. Therefore, in this verse it is said, Vasudeve Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayojitaha Janayati Ashu Vairagyam Jnanam Chayad Aitukam. To execute religious principle means gradually elevated to the highest principle of knowledge. The highest principle of knowledge is Bhakti Yoga. Therefore, in the Srimad Bhagavatam, it has been described what kind of dharma is described in the Srimad Bhagavatam. There are different types of dharma, but dharma projita kaitavo atra. Vasudeva is giving you introduction. Dharma projita kaitavatra. All kinds of cheating religious systems are swept away, thrown away, kicked out. Projita. Projita means kicked out. Prakrishta rupena ujjita. Just like we sweep over some room to get out of the dust, similarly, dusty, hazy system of religion is completely thrown away. Vedyam atra vastavam astu vastu chirvadam tapatrayon moolanam. This is meant for paramanirmatsaranam. This dharma, paramo nirmatsaranam. Paramo nirmatsara means Vaishnavas. Vaishnava is not envious. They are very merciful, just like Goswamis. Following in the Rupanuga Dharma, following the footsteps of Rupa Goswami, that is meant for paropakara. All other dharmas, any dharma, they execute dharma for personal benefit. Prabhupada is giving. Just like in Christian religion, they pray to God. Everyone, not only Christians, Hindus, Muslims, they go to God to pray something for personal gain. Oh God, give us our daily bread. So the same prayer is offered by everyone under different shape only. So in the calculation of Srimad Bhagavatam, such dharma, system of dharma which is meant for sense gratification, personal interest, that is called kaitava dharma, cheating. Dharma projita kaitavo atra. In this connection, Sridhar Swami has commented, Artha moksham vamscha nirastam. Those who are aspiring after liberation, that is also rejected. Why? There are so many greatly saint, jnanis, philosophers, they are trying to get liberation. It is cheating. Vyasadeva says, kaitava, cheating. And a great commentator like Sridhar Swami, he also gives this confirmation that up to moksha, vancha, that is cheating. Why cheating? That is explained in Kaviraj Goswami in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. Kaviraj Goswami says, Bhukti mukti siddhi kami sakali ashanta Krishna bhakta nishkama ataiva shanta. So bhukti, mukti, siddhi. Bhukti means karmis, those who are aspiring after being elevated to the higher planetary system. Svargaloka, higher status of life. That is called bhukti. And mukti, the jnanis. They want to become merged into the existence of absolute Brahman. They are called jnanis or muktis. Mukti kami, bhukti kami. And siddhi kamis means yogis. They are aspiring after so many material opulences. Because they are demanding something, aspiring something for sense gratification. Therefore, it is cheating. That is not religion. Prabhupada is saying, if you have got some intention to cheat others, then you will be restless, ashanta. But if you are plain, simple, then there is no ashanta, there is shanti. That is explained in the by Krishna himself in the Bhagavad. Mam chayo avyabhicharena bhakti yogena sevate. There also this word has been used, bhakti yoga, avyabhicharena bhakti yoga, not vyabhachari. Whereas in this verse, what is Diti trying to do? Vyabhicharena. She is trying to engage in vyabhichari activity, personal interest. Where is the interest of Krishna? Whereas devotees means havyabhichari. There is no personal interest. Vyabhichari and avyabhachari, there are different types according to the person. Avyabhachari means just to the point, as it is described by the authorities like Rupa Goswami. He describes in the Bhakti Yoga, Anyabhilashita shunyam jnana karmad anavritam anukulyena krishnanushilam bhaktiruttama. So this is avyabhacharini bhakti without any adulteration. Dharmasya hi apavargasya narto artho yapakalpate nartasya dharmaikantasya kamo labhayi smrita. All occupational engagements are certainly meant for ultimate liberation. They should never be performed for material gain. Furthermore, according to the sages, one who is engaged in the ultimate occupational service should never use material gain to cultivate sense gratification. It is condemned. We cannot engage in sense gratification. Kamasya nendriya pritir labho jiveta yavata jivasya tattva jignasa nartho yaschaya karmabhi. Life's desire should never be directed towards sense gratification. One should desire only a healthy life or self-preservation, since a human being is meant for inquiry into the absolute truth. Nothing else should be the goal of one's work. Rishabdev instructs his 100 sons, Nunam pramatha kurute vikarma yadindriya pritiya pranoti nasadu manye yata atmano yam asannapi kleshadahashade. These are all the wonderful verses of the Srimad Bhagavatam. The great verses, very revolutionary verses of the Srimad Bhagavatam. When a person considers sense gratification the aim of life, he certainly becomes mad after materialistic living and engages in all kinds of sinful activity. He does not know that due to his past misdeeds, he has already received a body which, although temporary, is the cause of his misery. Actually, the living entity should not have taken on a material body, but he has been awarded the material body for sense gratification. Therefore, I think it not befitting an intelligent man to involve himself in the activities of sense gratification by which he perpetually gets material bodies one after another. Why can't Kashyapa Muni have thought about this? Why he didn't think? When a person Nunam pramatto kurute vikarma yadindriya priyatriya apranoti nasadu manye yata atmano yam asannapi kleshada ashadeha. Obviously, it is not that Kashyapa Muni would not have been hearing, but that Prabhupada gives the right word, weakness of heart. When we are spiritually weak, even if knowledge is there, we will not be able to control. And why that weakness come? Again, Rishabhadeva is in the next verse itself is saying, what is the reason for this weakness? Parabhavastava dabodha jato yavanna jignyasata atmatattvam. Why? Because yavanna jignyasata atmatattvam. There is no jignyasata for atmatattvam. There is no desire for inquiring into our spiritual identity. You can see this. When you meet people in the material world, we keep meeting people and they are engaging so much in sense gratification. And when you try to talk to them, they say, "Are chodo yaar, ye sab batein. Right now I want to." That means what is that? If they, as soon, like many people say, "Hey, don't go to Hare Krishna temple. Don't go to those people." Then they will direct you in a totally different way. They'll make you vairagis. Exactly. We must become vairagis. We must become detached from this material existence. That is the purpose of life. So Rishabdev is saying, Parabhavastabadaboda jatam yavanna jignyasata atmatattvam yavat kriyastavad idam mano vai karmatmakam yena sharira bandha. As long as one does not inquire about the spiritual values of life, one is defeated and subjected to miseries arising from ignorance. Be it sinful or pious, karma has its resultant actions. If a person is engaged in any kind of karma, his mind is called karmatmaka, colored with fruitive activity. As long as the mind is impure, consciousness is unclear, and as long as one is absorbed in fruitive activity, he has to accept a material body. And Prabhupada in this purport is saying, generally people think that one should act very piously in order to be relieved from misery. But this is not a fact. Even though one engages in pious activity and speculation, he is nonetheless defeated. His only aim should be emancipation from the clutches of Maya and all material activities. Speculative knowledge and pious activity do not solve the problems of material life. And then, just like we say, no, Rishabdev is he quoted these two verses, and then next verse, what is he saying? Like, mm, what do you say? Uh, what is that English verse? Uh, uh, Lock, stock, and barrel. Lock, stock, and barrel means you maar diya, band diya, now put him into fire also, like that. Lock, stock. What is the lock? What is the first Rishabh Dev is giving lock and stock. Now what is the barrel? Barrel final hit on the nail. What is that hit on the nail? He's quoting this verse. Pum sam striya mituni bhavametam tayor mito hridaya granti rahu ato grah kshetra sutapta vidhay janasya moho yam aham mameti. The reason for all this lack of interest is what? The attraction between male and female is the basic principles of material existence. On the basis of this misconception, which ties together the hearts of a male and female, one becomes attracted to his body, home, property, children, relatives, and wealth. In this way, one increases life's illusion and thinks in terms of I and mine. So we must activate our spiritual intelligence always. We must not allow material weaknesses to overwhelm us, because actions indulged in those moments of spiritual weakness has great consequences. Just like you see the indulgence between Kashyapa and Diti. See, they are both elevated souls. And when elevated souls perform mistakes, the consequences are also very big. If many people are doing in all these kind of, like Diti and Kardama, Kashyapa, hundreds of people are in, but they won't produce Hiranyakashipu and Hiranyaksha. But if very big people like this do, then the resultant consequence is Hiranyakashipu and Hiranyaksha. Big Rakshasas will come. Very big Rakshasas will come. We'll stop here if there's any question, comments. Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Jai Srila Prabhupada ki.